I think that most of you already follow some We Value Nature session, but I just wanted to remind that We Value Nature is a campaign supporting business and the natural capital community to make valuing nature the new normal for business across Europe. And so they share research, resources, and best practice. They identify barriers and opportunities for adopting a natural capital approach. They provide practical support to help business improve their risk management, communication, and stakeholder engagement, and they reinforce and boost the work of the Natural Capital Coalition. So I really think that Nature4Cities is in line with this program. So this is a very great opportunity that we have to present our project within this program 10-day challenge. So we are very happy for that. So during this event, we will first start with a general introduction of the Nature4Cities project, also the platform and the tools. So I will first do a short presentation, then I will show you directly the platform. I will also introduce you to how to connect to the platform, and especially I will provide you a link to also to connect to Mural in order to interact all together within a whiteboard. Then before to test the platform, we will first show you what were our field test activities results. We have in Nature4Cities 4 pilot cities. So we have that will all of them will present their testimonials and feedbacks, and I think that it's very very good part to introduce you the platform, not only in terms of functionalities but also in terms of usefulness. So it will be so we will have 10 minutes per pilot cities. They will present all of them the different results. After that, we will do a short break because the session is more than 3 hours. So we think important also to have a break before to enter in the test of the platform. So first, at 10:30, around 10:30. We will show you the platform, and more especially we will show you one of the tool of the platform, which is the assessment tool of the platform. And by yourself, you will be invited to test this platform at the same moment. You can test during the demonstration, but you will be also invited to continue to test it during 20 to 30 minutes. And then to share with us your feedbacks and first feelings through the whiteboard that we will share. During this session, of course, if you have any issues, you can use directly Zoom to post your question. If you have issues that are related to how to connect to the mural or how to connect to the platform. Then if you have issues more related to the platform itself, it will be on the whiteboard that you will have to share your issues, because this whiteboard then will be kept and analyzed from our side in order to list all the difficulties that can be found by new users like you. So after this live test of the platform, you will perfectly know what is the platform, and especially what is the assessment tool of this platform. So after that, we will present you our platform business model and afterlife, and we will ask you some questions with an interactive tool, which is Slido. So probably most of you know this tool, or you will discover it with us. And we will have still 15 minutes for conclusions and general questions and discussions. First, okay, I don't know how many people we are now. Okay, we are 25 people, so more than previously. So good morning, everyone. We did not start yet. We will just start now. Yes, as planned at 9:15. So the starting point of Nature4Cities is what to list different urban challenges that have to be faced by cities. So we have classified them in 5 different topics. There are the climate urban challenges, like the climate issues, the water management and qualities, and in the environment we have the air quality, biodiversity and urban spaces, soil management, the resource efficiency, the green economy, and in social topics are the public health and well-being, the environmental justice and social cohesion, the urban planning and governance, and people security. So cities have to face these different challenges, and to address them, Nature4Cities intends to foster the implementation of nature-based solutions. So as you probably know, the nature-based solutions are actions inspired or supported by nature and spread out at different and interconnected scales. So if you want to know more about nature-based solutions, you can directly go also after this session to our website. We have a webinar that was registered, and where it really explains what are nature-based solutions. And in addition, in Nature4Cities, we have classified nature-based solutions with a specific typology that is presented also within this webinar. So Nature4Cities is the 2020 project that is almost finished. We are in the last month, more or less, because it will be finished at the end of April of this year. So it was a project of 4.5 years, consisted by 28 partners and composed of 11 work packages with funding of 7.5 million euros. So in this project, the different objectives were first to integrate nature-based solution in urban and spatial planning, so to push this possibility, and also to create a new and active community network around Nbs. Just to mention that at the beginning, when we started Nature4Cities, it was quite new because there were few projects about Nbs. Now, of course, it's much more expanded with lots of with big nature-based solution environment. We can see that there is a big ecosystem about nature-based solution, and especially with Nds projects within Europe. So this project can be also found within our website. There is a dedicated page where you can find most of this Nds project. Please, if you come from a specific project which is not in this page, do not hesitate to contact me to add your project also in our page, to mention you, of course. Another important objective for us is to develop. It's very important because it's the final result of the Nature4Cities project, is to develop the high quality knowledge and assessment tools. And finally, also to provide, to push the new governance, business, and financial models for Nbs implementation. So, as I told you, one of our main objectives is to produce some tools. And so the Nature4Cities platform offers technical solutions, methods, and tools to empower urban planning, decision-making, and address the contemporary environmental, social, and economic challenges that we have listed previously that European cities are facing. So the Nature4Cities platform is designed for policymakers and public urban planners, but also for urban professionals like landscape companies and architects, all greening professionals in a more general way, but also civil society with inhabitants and local organizations. You will see there is one tool at least that can be interesting for them, but also the knowledge tools can be very interesting to show them what are the nature-based solutions. And it covers different stages of Nbs projects. So the first stage is to create an Nbs project, and to assess Nbs project, and then to implement the Nbs project. So in the stage to create an Nbs project, the objective of the platform is to get knowledge and to provide knowledge and inspiration to choose the right Nbs to match your needs. So in this part, we have included 3 different kind of tools. So the first one is a kind of explorer. It is an explorer, actually. It's an explorer of a nature-based solution fact sheet. So you can obtain some fact sheets about these nature-based solutions, and it's a way to explore our Nbs typology with an interactive way, and to download the different fact sheets. So we will have a quick look on this tool just after this presentation. Another tool is the GeoCluster for Nbs tool, which is a tool that is composed especially of a pre-selection tool. So based on your urban challenges, it will provide you the type of Nbs that could cover your urban challenges, and also it will provide you some pioneer case studies that will inspire to have some good experience and to choose your Nbs finally. So the last kind of tool helps to diagnostic your city strengths. It rates your city performance and identifies the best place to implement your Nbs project. So actually, there are 2 different tools. We will also have a quick look on these tools, and they are based on satellite imagery analysis. This last 2 tools. The second part of the platform, so the second stage, assess Nbs project, aims to assess the impact of your Nbs for urban resilience, for the environment, and on socioeconomic features. So with these tools, you can assess your Nbs project, and you can, of course, increase your chances to meet your goals. The objective is to check, at least, to compare different scenarios, and to ensure that what you were initially expected can be, of course, achieved with by checking through some assessments. So we have 2 different tools. So the first one is to diagnostic your assessment needs, and the objective of this tool is more or less a questionnaire. Actually, is to find the best methods and tools to evaluate and solve your city's urban challenges. So it's more or less a repository where you will find a list of tools and methods that can answer, so that you could use to evaluate your city's urban challenges. And the second tool of this stage is the assessment tools that we will discover all together in the third part of this session. So is about the assessment of your project. So it is constituted by 3 different parts. So the first one is so this actually it's not in the good order, but because the first one is about the urban benefits assessment. So this because we have 3 different modules. So these modules we will we will see just after, but foresee the best place for your NBS by evaluating how it will affect its surroundings. The environmental assessment module will assess the impact of the NBS during all its life cycle, and the socioeconomic assessment estimates the socioeconomic benefits, co-benefits, and costs of the NBS project. So within this tool, it's possible first to create your scenarios, then to select your performance indicators. Then you can enter your data and length calculation through these 3 different modules. And at the end, it's possible to analyze and export your results in a simple way. So, so the first module, so that was this one, the urban benefit assessment. So the urban performance assessment is composed by 3 components. So the green path, the coloring NDS, and the expert model based box. So I know that it's a little bit complicated, but we will show you it just after. And I think it's important to explain you what is inside the platform before to have a demonstration. So this assessment tool is made up of these 3 distinct components, and these 3 modules are simplified versions of expert models, allowing a quick analysis in the pre-design stage. So when you start your project reflection, particularly, so they allow the evaluation of the benefits of NBS in urban areas. And in order to use these tools, the first step is to provide specific data on your NBS project, such as, for instance, the geographical location and other data that are more interesting more related to the NBS project, such as the number of trees, species, the vegetated areas, etc. And the results of this tool is then provided through a PDF in the form of digital data. There are also some geographic information maps and some scores that are provided as output. So the modules work separately, and the user can select the ones he needs. So if you are only interested, for instance, by the microclimate and thermal comfort analysis, then you can use only the Green Path module. If you are interested to analyze the environment, environment of a district, you can use the Colory NBS and so on. So in the Green Path module is specialized in the analysis of microclimate and thermal comfort in urban environment and at the scale of the object, especially. So the output indicators take the form of scores that we can see here, the list of the 5 different scores that we can obtain. And so for instance, the thermal comfort and the thermal storage scores, but also the runoff score can be measured for several scenarios. The Colory module is an applicable tool for neighborhood and city environmental analysis, and it analyzes the proportion and distribution of green spaces according to several indicators. So, for instance, the urban green space proportion, the connectivity of green spaces, the betweenness, accessibility, and others that can be assessed with this tool before and after the implementation of an NBS in order to compare both scenarios, the before and after one. And finally, the expert model-based box, so the EMBB, which is the acronym of expert model-based box, is a compilation of several simplified models from expert modules, and it provides several indicators also to assess the benefits and the response to many urban challenges, like, for instance, the annual carbon sequestration, the peak flow variation. There are also the sustainability practices indicators, the biotope area factors, and other scores that are related to the soil quality analysis. and so this was the first module. So the second module, which is about the socioeconomic assessment, is actually a decision support tools that can provide biophysical figures that correspond to the changes in the provision of each ecosystem services over time for some selected cells. So you will see after that that you can you have different cells where you have to provide some information about your case studies, and so it calculates the different figures depending on the selected cells and the information that you have provided. So it is based on the tools Nbenefits, and Nbenefits functions and steps have been fully integrated into the Nature4Cities platform to allow practitioners using both tools. So you can use separately Nbenefits or Nbenefits or the socioeconomic assessment module, which is integrated within the platform. And it's to quantify and assess multiple ecosystem services provided by Nbs over their entire life cycles, and also to compute and visualize impacts such as costs and benefits in terms of physical and monetary ecosystem service values at different spatial and temporal settings. So you can see here just one example of the results that can be provided. So here we have the cost associated with life cycle phases of the Nbs, and here the benefits associated with the provision of ecosystem services, and we can see the evolution, yes, at the temporal evolution of this figure. The third module, which is the environmental assessment module, is composed by two components. So the material flow analysis tool and the simplified life cycle assessment tool. So this tool is to calculate the material flow-based key performance indicators, to compare several nature-based solution options or nature-based solution with gray solutions, and to improve the design of an Nbs, taking into account the whole life cycle of the Nbs. So we will also show you this tool during the third part of this session. So these three modules I have presented will be detailed during the demonstration. So now we can go to the last stage of the Nature4Cities platform, which is about how to implement an Nds project. So once your project is ready to be launched, you still need to build a governance and economic model and to follow your project day by day. So we have here three different parts. So first, we offer some parts about how to gain skills to build inclusive projects. We have step-by-step grid and an implementation models handbooks, and also an implementation models database that is offered within this part. And you can also use the pre-selector implementation models that can help you to find the most suitable business, governance, and financing models. And finally, the last part is about how to involve citizens in your project. And it's a participative tool that can be used in order to include and to submit some surveys and to interact with citizens. So I will now share my screen in order for you to see the. Stop this one.
Maybe while Stephanie is sharing her screen, if you have some generic question about the project or the platform, you can ask them in the chat.
Okay. So we have currently the Nature4Cities platform is this one. It means that this one is open to the public, so to you and to everybody. And but it's a temporary platform because, as you can see, there are some tools that are not available at the moment, but you can already have access to some of the tools of this platform. But I will show you directly the current platform of Nature4Cities, which is with another URL because actually it's still under development and we will finish it at the end of the project. So as I show you initially, we have three different stages within the platform. So you can click on the stage that corresponds to, for instance, how to create an Nds project or how to find inspiration to create such an Nds project. So as I mentioned you previously, there are three different kind of tools. So the first one is the Nbs Catalog Explorer. When you click, it opens a new window with this interactive tools where you can see the typology of nature-based solutions developed within Nature4Cities. So it's classified by object, action, or strategies. And for instance, in object, shapes, and physical projects, you can see on buildings and structures, water, or on the ground NBS. And so if you are interested to, for instance, to find a nature-based solution that is related to water management and quality, you just have to click on the urban challenges and you can then see the NBS, the corresponding NBS are highlighted. So it is then possible to select some NBS and to see also in which other urban challenges they can impact. And at the end of each NDS, you can download the corresponding fact sheet directly by clicking on this link. So this tool is available in different languages, but the fact sheets are available only in French and English, but the short descriptions are available in these different languages.
And just a small precision, the fact sheets are going to be available very soon, also in Hungarian.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Okay, so this is all for this tool. As I told you, in this tool, you can have the possibility to pre-select a nature-based solution. So I will just show you very briefly that yes, it's possible to select some urban challenges. By this way, I show you very quick because we don't have enough time to show you all the tools of the platform, but yes, you can select that quite quickly, and then you can have the NDS that can corresponding to your project, and you can visualize some pioneer NDS projects that can inspire you in your project. And the third kind of tools is constituted by two different tools, so Colory and Green City. With Colory, you can analyze the properties surroundings, rate the proximity and accessibility for amenities and services to live, open, business, or leisure. So you can select one tool or the other. And with Green City, you can analyze the vegetation of your cities and the related indicators on well-being and biodiversity. So I don't know if it will work with Colory because I don't remember if I was connected or not. Yes, it works. So okay, so you have a map, and it is then possible to have 3 different kinds of indicators based on the attractivity of the locations that you select. So I will not show you, but you can at the end it will be possible to test it by yourself when we will finish the project. But you can already test Colony because they have their it's a separated tool also which is accessible directly through the platform, but you can also have access to this tool separately to the platform. So you can already have access to it. And the other tool, yes, because I open it on the same page, is the Green City tool that were developed for 2 of our pilot cities. So I will show you the development for the Szeged. Yes, we have, as I told you, we have 4 different pilot cities. We have Szeged, we are in Hungary. We have Çankaya, Ankara in Turkey. We have Alcalá de Henares, which is near to Madrid in Spain, and we have the Milano Metropole in Italy. So here we can see the tool with different also indicators, and this is just so you can have access to first an explanation of the indicators, and you can have access to an analysis of the biodiversity based on the selected indicators, and the map is defined based on these different indicators. So it's possible to have the share of green areas for each selected part. You can select, for instance, the bad core, and to analyze where it's important to implement Nds, for instance. So this is another tool that is already available. You can already have also access on the Nature4Cities platform. The current links that I have shown you just previously. So here we have seen all the different tools that are in the part of Create Nds Project. I will show you now the tools that are in Implement Nds Project. So we have currently 2. So we have some information. So the Nds handbook. We have also the step-by-step guide in order to learn how to implement socially inclusive and accepted Nds projects. PDF that provides some knowledge and information about how to implement inclusive Nds projects. And the 2 other tools are, so first, the implementation pre-selection tool, so which is also accessible directly through the current Nature4Cities platform. So it's already open to the public, so you can test it directly. So with this tool, it is possible to define, following your criteria, your context, which implementation models can be applied to your Nds project. So first, you have to define the Nds project, then to check and select eligible models. Then you can use examples as guidance, and then it's possible to build a Nds business model canvas. So I don't have enough time to show you how it works exactly, but you can test it by yourself. As I can see, Mathilde is sharing the different links, so it's possible for you to test it. And it's not the object of today's session, so we will not go further. And finally, the last tool that can be tested, that cannot be tested at the moment, is the Nds project participation tool. So with this tool, it's possible to generate different workflows, to submit some surveys, to assess some feedback. And yes, it's in French there because they know that I'm connected from France, so that's why there are some French things. But okay, so it is then possible to create some workflow and some activities that you want to share with the citizens or the some technical people around how to create your Nbs project in order to have some interactive design together. And now we can go to the Assess Nbs project. So the first tool I presented you previously was how to diagnostic of your assessment needs. So when you click on this tool, it's possible to answer to specific questions, and by answering this specific question, you can select, for instance, the kind of Nbs you would like to assess, then to select the urban challenges you are interested by, and the different the study scale, and also the indicators that you want to assess. And based on your selection, the tools provide you a list of models that can be used to assess these different indicators. You can download some fact sheets, and you can have a short description in order to select some tools if you need to go further in the assessment of an Nbs project. So these are the expert and what we call expert models. And the other part of Nature4Cities is about the simplified models of expert models, which is the Nbs project assessment. And I will not enter into this project because it is the object of the third part of this session. So before to go to the presentation of the pilot cities, I would like first to share with you the mural link and because we will connect with, yes, we will create your account.
I can do it if you want.
Yes, you have the link, yes?
Yes.
The mural? Yes, okay, you can share it. So you can directly connect on the mural. And if you click on the link just shared by Mathilde, you will be able to see. Okay, I don't remember how to make it as a presentation. Don't remember where is it. Okay, but okay, this is not very important. I had another tool there, which is a player. So I will zoom, it will be perfect. Okay, so the first step that you can do now or later is to select your box. So you can go on the tool and select your box. So if you are an architect, a municipality, an urban or landscape planners, and so on, you can select your own box in order to provide your name. So what we need to have is to have your first name, second name, and organization. So then you will have to use always the same color in order for us to know if the different questions are asked in this whiteboard are provided more by municipalities or by researchers and so on. So for instance, there is a title that disappears. Yeah, so I don't remember what was the title there, but okay. Is it working? Because I can see. Okay, so you can continue to do that after this this session. And now what I would like to do is to invite you to click on the Nature4Cities platform link that is in the third step, just there. So by clicking, it will open.
I will share the link to the platform, okay, in the chat.
Okay. Yes, it's maybe simpler like that. So what you can do when you log in the platform is to first click on sign up part. Then you can register. So you can provide your email and your password. And that's all for the moment, because first we will have the presentation of the city.
One remark here. This is Susanne speaking. Sorry. You need to register only to access to the part of Assess Nds Project. Okay. For the other functionality presented by Stephanie, you don't need to be registered into the platform. But for the assessment part, and taking into account that it's time consuming, we need you to be registered. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now I would like first to have to know if it's okay for most of you, or at least for some of you. So can you just provide at least a comment on the chat of this Zoom? Did you success how to access to the platform? So yes, you just need to click on that, and then you can register. Okay. I did not block the element, and I think it was a mistake. I should have done that. Sorry. Okay. Ooh. Okay, next time, okay. This is the first webinar I did, and I forget to lock the different elements. That's why it moves, because some of you play with the elements. Okay. So, okay. So I think that it's enough for this first registration. I think that maybe some of you success to do that. Can you just confirm it on the chat of the Zoom that you success to register to Nature4Cities platform? Or maybe, Susanna, you have, you know if some people are registered or not?
We can check in the database, okay? But yeah, it's good to know if everybody has succeeded in the registration in the platform.
Okay. Okay. I can see that some people were not able to connect, but finally it's okay. I don't know if it's connected or not. Okay, I think that it's okay, almost okay. Okay, so now I propose you to go to the following part where we will have the feedback of our pilot cities on the use of platform. So we will start with the city feedback of Çankaya, Ankara in Turkey, and I think that it will be presented by Sina from Ecodenge.
Yes, right, Stefan.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'll start or not?
Yes, you can, I think.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Stephanie. So good morning, everyone. I'm Çınar from Ecodenge. So we just collaborated with Çankaya Municipality for the field testing activities. We are acting as a technical correspondent of the municipality. Çankaya is located in Ankara. Ankara is the capital city of Turkey, as you may know. And Çankaya is one of the cosmopolitan districts of Ankara and considered as a cultural and financial center of Ankara. So as you may know, there are lots of urban challenges faced by Ankara also, like the urban, like climate change affecting the urban heat island effects, and also some noise and air pollution challenges, and also waste management issues, water management issues, and so on. And municipalities are in operation in order to face and fight against these challenges. And these two A and B examples are the nature-based solutions used for that purposes. The A is the İsmet İnönü Park, which is a public urban green spaces, and the B is Healthy City and Healthy Streets is an ongoing virtual project, and it's a strategic project, and it's also considered as an Nbs. So next, please. Thank you. Let me give some details about these Nbs's. İsmet İnönü Park, as I said before, is a public urban green space, is a large green area where a biological silo is located on valley bottom, which is under risk of flood. So the main purpose, the primary ambition, is to eliminate this stormwater, and secondly, a sustainable management structure in this park. It was planned in 2016, and it was established and launched in 2018. It is near to the city center, 8 kilometers, and also it was an inactive area. Right now, it's really active area, and in the vicinity there are commercial, public, and residential buildings, and there's a rainwater harvesting system that supports the irrigation of the soil. And also there are other parks in the vicinity which connect all of the structures like a green corridor, a connection of and green networks, which will be in the near future. And also some green roofs and green walls in the area, and green roofs on the top of a security building, acting as an energy reducer in terms of cooling and heating energies. And it's called ecological building. So the second Nbs is, can you please press enter? Thank you. It is a strategical and ongoing virtual nature-based solution, which is healthy city and healthy streets. It's about ensuring the continuity with ecological network, and the main aim is to increase the quality of life in the city of citizens of all ages and reach all facets of the city with equal opportunities. And the main ambition includes the clean, safe, and healthy areas with freedom of movements, and creating and generating green areas, and encouraging cycling together with accessibility via public transportation. Next, please. Thank you. So I just divided into 4 categories: the platform, which is the umbrella structure of 3 different modules, like the knowledge and support tools, Nbs Project assessment tools, which highlighted for the first letter N, the N methods, guidelines, and participative tools highlighted with N. So there were some initial expectations provided by the municipality before this field testing activities. So what were there? For the first module, the platform, the umbrella structure, it should be an easy and user-friendly and understandable structure, a stable and secure one, and accessible for all kinds of users, like experts or different stakeholders in the area. For the second categorization, the knowledge and support tools, it is expected to have a catalog which includes a diverse classification of the different Nbs, including their fact sheets and their locations in a map, like a georeference, and their replicabilities, and their different governance and business structures. And it could be a platform that supports business model establishment issue, and also some urban analytics covering the smart city concept for biodiversity or other infographics will be quite feasible for the municipality for the future dissemination of the activities to the citizen. And the next one is the Nbs Project assessment tools. Thank you. And it's about assessment of the performance metrics that we are dealing today in the demo, and also the opportunity to create a project for an ongoing or an existing Nbs to validate or to evaluate this different scenario, the deviation in the Nbs parameters is a good opportunity here. And the last one is about methods and guidelines, participative tools. So the main ambition is the collaboration. Thank you. So next, please. Here, I'm talking about the field test activities of 3 different assessment tools: the EMBB tools, expert model base box, the color tools, and socioeconomic assessment tools. And there are lots of KPI that we calculated in the context of field testing activities, but as we have limited time, the first 2 will be elaborated in the next section. So during this field testing activities, we created different scenarios of baseline covering the 2020 situation and the future scenario of 2025. And we just deviate different action in the park area, like changing the parking lots as a green structure, or adding a new green wall, or adding a new green roof to another building top, like cafeteria. So we just deal in that way. Could you please next? Thank you. For the first KPI, key performance indicator, we are just trying to evaluate the annual carbon sequestration. For that purpose, we just divide and list all the tree species and the vegetation type in the area together with their attributes, like their age or diameter, or the condition or the number of trees on the area, and for the vegetation type, the surface area that they are covered. So we just entered all of these inputs together with the number of days in a year without frost and the climatical background, as Ankara is in a dry state. We obtained the annual carbon sequestration of 2 years, as the first one is nearly for 30,000 kilogram carbon, and the second one in 2025 is 27,000 kilogram carbon, and there's a decrease in the annual carbon sequestration in that KPI because of the perennial grass area reduction. Next, please. And the second KPI that we considered is the biotope area factor. You can see on the left one, there's a screenshot of the platform from the assessment tool that there are some input boxes there. So the user has to enter the necessary information there in order to make the necessary calculation for that purposes. So on the right one, we just categorize and collect all of the information about surface area of different things like sealed surface area or partial sealed surface area or extensive green roof or green wall in surface area. So we just enter to the platform and we obtain the results as expected, an increase in the biotope area factor. Next, please. So these are different screenshots during the field testing activities that we had with the Çankaya municipality. So there are lots of things going on. So we can just pass over the next slide. Here, we can say that all the tools are really beneficial, but the followings are mostly preferred by the Çankaya municipalities. Like in the first section, in create an Nbs project, for example, Nbs Catalog Explorer or Green City are really useful for their daily life. And in the second section, assess an Nbs project module, expert model-based bugs together with the socioeconomic assessment are quite feasible to use for the evaluation of different Nbs. And on the third part, the citizen say tool is a participatory tool for the citizen and for other stakeholders. And also the IM pre-selection tool for the business model creation are selected as most preferred. Next, please. So there are lots of things here, but I would like to summarize in a more concise way as possible. So starting from the Nature4Cities platform, it's really easy to register and of course and log in. And the interface is really good and feasible and really well-structured modules in terms of the create, assess, and implement, and the user-friendly user interface. For the improvement of the platform, a tutorial video section will be good for that purpose. For the second one, for Nbs Explorer, it's really concise and holistic catalog for diverse Nbs, and the interface is really fascinating and attractive and well-designed. A good option will be to add a new Nbs section is feasible for that tool for the improvement. For the third one, which is the GeoCluster for Nbs, it's another tool that uses the georeferencing for the replicability of different Nbs all around Europe by pinpointing in a map. And a linkage with Nbs Explorer will be a good thing as a commonization issue. The next one is the diagnostic of your assessment needs, as Stephanie already mentioned. There were 6 simple questions asking the need of the municipality or the expert about the urban challenges they are facing, and it just gives the necessary software and methodology that user can use it. The next one is about IM pre-selection. So it's just about establishing a business model. During this field testing activity, we just use the planning phase of İsmet İnönü Park parameters in order to understand the structure of the tool. So it works well and quite good to understand the financial and governance model together with the examples. The next one is the Green City, which has a really good interface and structure, and it's just give the biodiversity and well-being related indicators and a good scoring that can be used in the billboards to disseminate the action or the results of an assessment to the citizen in a more user-friendly manner. So in that way, an improvement for the smaller hexagonal grids will be great in order to cover small areas like small parks. In Ankara, there are lots of small parks. In color analytic tool is really good because a tutorial, there's a tutorial which is an important asset for the user, for the experts. And it's really beneficial to use it during the creation of annual pack program as a decision maker tool. Could you please go to the next slide? Thank you. The next one is an assessment tool. It's an expert model based box we already discussed. And for the testimonials, the explanation for different inputs are already there, which helps the user a lot. And also there are some default values provided for different KPI, like soil organic material and soil available water. And the interface is really useful. And also the output section is quite well. But for the improvements, the list of the trees could be improved according to the local needs. The next one is the color tool, which is a compact and easy to adapt tool. And a legend for the map can be added to that tool. The next one is one of the preferred one is Socioeconomic Assessment, also called the Benefits tool. It provides really valuable information about different cost items like operational and implementation costs. And also it supports time series analysis for an extensive time-based perspective. For example, for the annual carbon sequestration for 50 years periods. So it's really good tool, but the matrix used for the plant location could be increased. 12, it is right now 12 by 12, but it could be increased by 20 by 20 or more. Or additional tree special will be good for the tool too. So last three tools, the first two ones are about the methodologies, and it's just draw conclusions and summaries and about the past and future and current barriers that we were dealing with during the implementation or use phase of the Nbs, and we are within the life cycle of an Nbs. And the second one is the step-by-step guideline, which is a holistic guide, which is already used some of the chapters in the municipality, but this guideline is covering nearly all of the life cycle of an Nbs project, and it's really useful for municipality to acting in a more straight and proper way. And the last tool is the Citizen Say, and it's really a collaborative tool, and it's really handy, especially for the COVID situation right now. And it's really good to make some workflow to establish a survey among the citizens, among the stakeholders, and also to establish a collaborative work, like working on a map to pinpoint the location of an Nbs for urban planning. It's a really good to have in hands. This is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina, for this complete feedback. And so now we can go through the Szeged municipality feedback. So I don't know who will do the presentation. I don't know if it's Bianca or.
Yes, Bianca will start it.
Yes, I will start.
Okay.
Yes.
Bianca.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. My name is Bianca Hevizi, and I am working as a project manager at the municipality of Szeged. And I would like to introduce first the city of Szeged and then our case studies. Szeged is located in the southeastern part of Hungary in Central Europe. Szeged is the third most populated city in Hungary, and it is the economic, scientific, and cultural center of the Sonar Great Plain region. And the second biggest river in Hungary, the Tissa, flows through the city. Szeged has 3 case study sites. The first is the Széchenyi Square reconstruction, and the Tissa River Waterfront rehabilitation is the second one. These implemented in the historical downtown of the city, and both are neighborhood scale Nbs. And the third case study is the bird-friendly school garden. Is a school garden project in which students and their parents, professors, and other related social actors are involved in the planning and decision-making process. On the next slide, I would like to introduce each site. First, about the Széchenyi Square. The Széchenyi Square is the main square of the city, with the city hall and other public institutions. Therefore, it's visited by commuters, citizens, and non-local visitors in daily manner in great number. That is the reason why the square is a prestigious place of the city. The overall reconstruction is always on the agenda, and I would like to mention the main features. For example, the traffic will be restricted. Only tram and bus will run on the side of the square. Consequently, the air quality will become better. The other features will be that some old trees will be cut and new ones will be planted to increase the diversity of tree species. But the main focus is that the square would become a more pedestrian-friendly public space. The Tissa River waterfront is a bit further down from the city center. However, next to it, there is a university campus and a hospital, which makes its role important as it has many visitors. Along the Tissa, there is a dam made by concrete with no significant vegetation. And the main aim is to improve with small-scale interventions, for example, increasing green surface by planting trees and green walls. And the third case study is the bird-friendly school garden. It's situated in an elementary school of Szeged, where a community of parents initiated the improvement project of the school garden to enrich the kids' experience about the nature surrounding them, for example, by improving the soil nutrient content with compost, planting bushes and trees, collecting rainwater, or putting out feeders. In the next slide, I am going to introduce our main expectations of the tools. The main focus of the municipality is on the Széchenyi Square because it is the main park of the city. We have a high expectation to the Nature4Cities project in the finalization of the reconstruction plan. Through the tools, a better picture can be drawn as a conclusion how the NBS should look like to maximize the benefits for the municipality and the visitors as well. The second site is the Tissa River waterfront site. No, please. No. Sorry, which is a complex issue due to the small-scale developments. The municipality is interested in the increasing of efficiency of maintenance work or how the biodiversity functions can be enriched. And regarding the third test site, the bird-friendly school garden, the main interest is to increase the biodiversity of the garden and make it a climate-resilient place for the children. The tools have been selected considering the indicators that can calculate. Therefore, not all the tools were applied on each site. And now I would like to ask Bartomáš to present the field test activities in pilot site.
Thank you, Bianca. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bartomáš Körmöndi, and I'm working for the Hungarian Urban Knowledge Center, which is located in Budapest. It's far from Szeged, but we are cooperating with Szeged Municipality and Szeged University during this project, and we are considered as the technical supporter of the municipality. So now I would like to introduce you a bit more deeply the scenarios what we have created for each of the sites. Here you can see the Széchenyi Square, in which case we plan two kind of scenario. One is with small-scale interventions, even if in the case of the reconstruction could not be carried out. In this case, only the old trees will be cut out and new ones will be replaced. As you can see in the chart in the table below, the number of trees have changed. And in the full case, full reconstruction, all the square will be rebuilt, but although the structure of the square will not change, but it will be a more pedestrian friendly, as Bianca have said. Only these sites will be allowed for traffic. Yes, next slide, please. Yes, thank you. In the case of Tissa waterfront, only small-scale interventions are planned, as its priority function is flood prevention. So in this case, only the sides of the dam can be modified, for example, with less concrete, and change it more plant-friendly surfaces, which is permeable for water. In this case, and with the bird-friendly garden, drone inspectory was made during this project. So this was used for deeper analysis. The result, can you see, is the land coverage classification. And in the case of bird-friendly garden, it is a long initiated project. It was initiated in 2016, and thanks to this kind of long yearly data set, we have been built, mainly due to the university. And thanks to this, we can build a life cycle assessment, background database, and the result and the scenarios you can see on the right side. Here also, just small scale interventions are planned, as there is only small project for the school. Some trees will be replaced, and mainly perennials or herbs will be planted. It will be done by students or parents in the school. So next slide, please. So during the assessment, we used some of the tools, and I would like to highlight, for example, the coloring. And in which case you can see the result of the state of the initial or the scenario phase, because the areas will not be changed. New buildings won't be built, so we do not have to make a before-after analysis. Some of the indicators results can be seen here, and if you click on the some of the polygons, you can see the results of the green space indicators. Next one, please. In the case of bird-friendly garden, we could make the life cycle assessment, because, as I mentioned before, we have a long database, so and various aspects, or data were collected from various aspects. So we can make this kind of database, and here you can see the change after a 5-year of period. During the interpretation of the results, maybe some skills for the understanding of the results you may need to interpret these final results. Thank you. Next one, please. So as an example from the EMBB tool, I would like to show you the biotope area factor, in which case for the baseline and for the future scenarios, you can see the results. So, for example, in the case of bird-friendly garden, even small changes can increase the score significantly, while in the case of the Tissa Waterfront, even we can say that a big amount of change won't change the score significantly. But in the case of Sechenyi Square, the full reconstruction will increase the biotope area factor score significantly. The next one, please. Yes, thank you. So as a summary, we can say that for the municipality, the Nature4Cities platform and the tools can be utilized very efficiently, and for the future project and for these project sites, it can be used for analyzing more deeply the plans, what we have already carried out, and new ideas can be implemented into the plans. While in the case of, for example, Tissa River, we can add more kind of tools or NBSs and we can analyze them through these tools. And in the case of bird-friendly garden, we can say that these tools can be used for economically beneficial solutions, which is kind of cheap and efficient in the utilization of for the school. So as we have talked about this with the municipality, we are planning to use the platform and the tools in the future project. Thank you very much. I would like to give back the word to you.
Yes, thank you, Barnabas, and thank you, Bianca, for this presentation. So now we can go to the Alcalá de Henares feedback. I think that it could be presented maybe by Major, or I don't know.
Yes, by me.
Yeah, okay.
Hi. Good morning. I'm Aida from Tecnalia, and when I'm here representing the municipality of Alcalá de Henares, as they cannot be here, as the technical supporter to explain you how has been our experience using the tools developed in the project in our case study, the edible forest of Alcalá. As Stephanie said before, Alcalá de Henares is a city from Spain, very close to Madrid. And in this case, the project aims to increase the biodiversity of a peri-urban space by renaturalizing it through the creation of an edible forest. It's a part of a recovery strategy of an island which was very degraded due to intensive agriculture. And the forest has been created thanks to public-private collaboration using plants and trees that produce their own seeds in order to promote the natural development of the forest. And this new habitat, on the one hand, has provided a refugee source of food and wildlife protection space for birds and pollinators that can help in seed dispersal and pollination processes. And on the other hand, acts as a buffer for the river vegetation. Next, please. The aim of using the tools in the case study was to assess the evolution of the project, focusing on the indicators that were selected because they were related to the urban challenges that the city is facing in this area, which are biodiversity and urban spaces, public health and well-being, and environmental justice and social cohesion. So considering those indicators, the tools selected were the ones in the table. The platform as a repository of the tools, and we wanted to test the suitability, its usability, sorry. The GeoCluster as a repository of pioneer cases because the city wants to find good practices regarding the implementation of urban forests that could be interesting for the future development of the forest. A coloring analytic, a tool that evaluates and analyzes the services covered in a specific area to identify the needs regarding the accessibility issues close to the edible forest. The expert model-based box, simplify life cycle assessment and benefits as the assessment tools to compare the different scenarios regarding the socioeconomic, environmental, and urban impacts. Implementation model pre-selector to define the governance and financing models for the future scenario that I will show you later. And Citizen Say as a platform to support participatory processes that could be useful for future participatory processes in the city. Next, please. So these are the different scenarios that have been assessed using the tools. The first one is the baseline. And nothing was planted here in the red area. I don't know if you can see it properly, but nothing was planted except for some shrubs and grass. The second is the edible forest, just this little part in green there, where 396 trees were planted and 520 shrubs, thanks to a volunteering program developed by the city. And the two future scenarios, the first one, doubling the size of the current edible forest, and a super optimistic scenario with an area 5 times larger than the current forest, developed thanks to citizens and companies' involvement and bigger participation. Next, please. So I'm going to show you the results of 3 of the tools that were used in the assessment process. The first one is Colory, included in the expert model base box. The objective was to become familiar with the indicators calculated by the tool to evaluate if they can be interesting for future projects, and of course to test the usability. In this case, as the edible forest is located in a peri-urban area surrounded by nature, the evolution in the indicators were not very evident, but changes could be observed in the urban green space proportion. So here you can see in the third scenario, like more green and yellow cells, which is related to the forest extension. And for us, it has been a little bit difficult to interpret the results due to lack of legends that could help us to better understand the impact of each indicator. Next, please. The second one is the simplified life cycle assessment and material flow analysis. The objective was to evaluate the evolution of the forest, focusing on the 3 indicators related to air quality and also midpoint and endpoint indicators. The usability of the tool was also be tested. The tool is very intuitive and guides you smoothly through the whole process, identifying the inputs that are necessary for the calculation of the indicators, and then finally showing the results. But if the user is not very familiar with the interpretation of the results, it can be difficult to understand because the information provided is too technical. What we saw after the analysis was a positive evolution in the impacts on ecosystem and human health due to bigger number of trees planted, while the impacts on resources was negative because of irrigation. Next, please. And the last tool that we're going to show you is the implementation model preselection tool. The aim was to identify suitable governance and financing models for the third scenario, because the rest will use the same implementation model that was a co-management and public-private financing model. So as for the third scenario, bigger participation was expected. We wanted to analyze which governance and financing models could be most suitable. So after introducing the data, we selected collaborative governance models as the option for governance models, because a coordination of the different actors is necessary. And in this case, the municipality, private sector, and citizens were participating. And for the financing model, the idea was to continue with the same financing model, public-private, but complementing by the model of citizen inclusion that includes funding schemes such as crowdfunding and volunteering. Next, please. So as conclusion, we can say that the platform is very intuitive and easy to understand. The Clio cluster for Nbs can be very helpful to find pioneer cases that can serve as support in the planning process. But minor improvements are necessary because you cannot select an Nbs and see which projects are developed using this Nbs in a map. It's not working properly at the moment. Colory Analytic is very user-friendly and provides very valuable information in an easy to understand way. Sorry, I was talking about Colory, no? Okay, sorry. It would be good to include more information about accessibility and core services and improve the function to compare 2 sites, because now the 2 sites must be very close one from the other, and you cannot compare 2 places in the same city that are one apart from the other, which is a pity. Expert model basebox, we haven't tested completely, so the idea is to finalize the evaluation process during this week, so we can give feedback after this evaluation. A simplified life cycle assessment and material flow analysis it's a very good tool because it offers two analysis in a tool in a very easy and intuitive way. We think that it would be good to include more NBS types and a guide to help non-expert users in the interpretation of the results. And benefits provides monetized information of the costs and benefits, and it's very useful to promote urban greening projects, helping to show how the investment made can have returns in terms of saving, which is very interesting for cities. And it would be interesting to include more NBS types and more tree species in the model, as well as a bigger grid or a grid that can change the shape, or I don't know, because now we have a grid that has a specific dimension and you can change this. And if your site is bigger, you cannot. You have to make the evaluation like 2 or 3 times. Implementation model preselection is user-friendly, helps in the decision-making. The design of the business model is complex, but the templates provided are helpful. But we think that improvements are also necessary, including more examples and the possibility of selecting more than one financing model per project. And Citizens A is very useful to create collaborative workflows for decision-making. But although it seems it's very intuitive, it's more complex than expected once you start working with it. So that's why more instructions are necessary to better understand how certain functionalities work. So next, yeah. So in a nutshell, the platforms provides very useful tools to plan, design, and evaluate NBS projects and monitor them. The tools give very valuable information about the benefits of the projects for the city and its citizens. Implementing new NBS projects will be easier thanks to the information provided that can help demonstrating their effectiveness to overcome different urban challenges. And for sure, Alcalá de Henares will use the platform and the tools in their future projects. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Maida. So now we can go to the metropolitan city of Milan with, I don't know who will present.
Hi, Stephanie. I'm Giulia from Metropolitan City of Milan. I'm working there as a technician, and I'm going to present some feedbacks about our experience on Nature4Cities platform. Metropolitan City of Milan is located in the north of Italy and is composed of the city of Milan and 133 municipalities. We participated in the project with the 4 case studies all about quarries recovery. Here in the slide, you can see some pictures about the environmental recovery of a quarry. As you may know, the quarry is a place where rock, sand, and minerals are extracted from the ground. And the most common purpose of the quarries is to extract materials for buildings, use building materials. And when the extraction activity ends, the quarry is environmental recovered and give back to citizens as a urban park. Next slide, please. As the Metropolitan Cities of Milan, our main maybe there are some noises.
Yes, I just muted the microphone.
Thank you. As the Metropolitan City of Milan, we participate in this project to improve our knowledge on nature-based solution and to bring this knowledge back to our decision makers, municipalities, technicians, citizens, and students. In particular, we would improve our strategy for the whole metropolitan area to improve the framework of adaptation measures. Here are some initial expectations we had on the tools, but I think we're all are almost the same with the other partners, so we can go on. Next slide, thanks. And we tested in particular, we would like to present these two tests we did with the Nbs assessment module. We used input data about the query site called ATG30, and in green you can see the area that was environmental recovered in 2020, and in red the next environmental recovery to be done in 5 years. As you can imagine, the environmental recovery of a query is a very long and slow process, and for us it is was a little bit difficult to have some parameters to fill in the tools with the end of the recovery project. For that reason, we focus our attention on the knowledge that the Nature4Cities tools can improve in our technicians. Next slide, please. We considered in the urban assessment tools that the whole project of the query was ended, and of course we see that the annual carbon sequestration of the whole area is have a very high value, because of course the whole area was restored with trees and green, also the biotope area factor and the peak flow variation. Next slide, please. But I think the most interesting activity, the field test for us, was to check the results with the environmental assessment tool. We had some data that you can see in the table that we obtained thanks to a drone flight in 2019, and we used these data to check if the tool on the KPI annual carbon sequestration was the same, and we, as you can see in the slide, we obtained similar data. And so we checked the functionality, we demonstrated it. Next slide, please. In the end, we can say that Nature4Cities platform, our initial expectation was confirmed, and all these tools are perfect and have some minor improvement to be done, but from our side it could be used to start designing your Nbs project. Of course, we have to do all together. We have to share and disseminate the platform. For Nbs Explorer, it is perfect to use this tool during environmental education activities, training courses, practice exercises, because for us it's very simple to use. For GeoCluster for Nbs, of course, for us it is important to keep update Pioneer project database. For calorie analytic, as I said, also the other colleagues would like to have some more this information about Legend, about this the functionality of the tool. The next slide, please. The implementation model database, for us it will be interesting to add also financial models that the next European financial program will detail, and step-by-step guide for our municipalities could be interesting to turn this guide into an interactive tool. Next slide. In general, we can say that Nature4Cities platform could be a practical support for our municipalities to start a new project to renature cities. That is will be an help to raise awareness on sustainable development team and train new NBS professional experts and provide new services useful to guide the user through NBS team. Next slide. Finally, I would like to advise you to use the Nature4Cities platform because the graphic is very good, innovative, user-friendly. You can start to design your first NBS project on the environmental socioeconomic sites with a little help of your technicians. But if you have some problem in each tool, you have the chance to contact the person in charge of the tool. Our Metropolitan City of Milan decided to post all the tools on her website, so to let our municipalities to use them in the future projects. Thanks to Stephanie and to all the consortium.
Okay, thank you, Julia, for your presentation. So as we have seen, there are various pilot sites and tests that were done by our 4 pilot cities and municipalities. Then, most of feedbacks are also we have a lot of overlaps between the different feedbacks. You have noticed some needs of improvement that are similar sometimes, but as the case studies are various, we have identified also some interesting feedback that will enable to list all some needs of improvement for the platform and their tools. I wanted to mention, just to remind that the current Nature4Cities platform is, we can say that it's a beta version, because at the end of the project, the TRL will be about 6 for people that know what is TRL. So it means that it's not a complete market product, but it still has to be tested and to be further developed before to be used in a complete new environment. However, as you noticed, some of the tools can already be applied in a new environment where some others are quite limited, but we will see that after. So now I suggest to do 10 minutes of break. We are late with 20 minutes, I think, something like that. But we will still do 10 minutes of break, and we will come back so at 50 past 10. So see you in 10 minutes. And if you have some questions, please do not hesitate to ask them directly. And so we just take a coffee break. Thank you. Okay, so we will continue the session. So we will try to accelerate at least the different presentations, or probably the different presentations. And okay, so I will let the screen to you, Susanna. So just
yes, thank you.
I need just to understand how to do that. Okay, because I think that you cannot, or maybe you can. I don't know if you can. Just tell me if it works or not.
I cannot share my screen.
Okay.
Stefan, you have to give me access in order to share, because I am not able to share my screen.
Oh, yes? Okay.
They have enabled the functionality of sharing screens for the participants.
I don't understand why is it on. Okay. And now, does it work?
Yes, now it's working. Thank you. Yeah, so can you see my screen, right? Okay, so good morning to everybody. Thank you for sharing this event, where we plan to show you our outputs at the end of the project, almost at the end of the project. My name is Susana Martin from Fundación Cartif. I am leading the design, development, and deployment of the Nature4Cities platform. So during this session, as Stephanie presented at the beginning, the plan is to do a live demonstration of the assessment part of the platform. In this case, we are starting with an example of 20 minutes by myself, and later try to play together with the platform in order to test your own challenge and to test also how the platform works. This activity is also supported by the mural that presented by Stephanie also at the beginning of this event. Before starting, some remarks that I want to highlight. You have to take into account that, sorry, let me put this here. This is a beta version of the platform. The part of the assessment is in a beta version of the platform, so we are still detecting and correcting some bugs. In this case, for the demo, we will use the Nbs public urban green space, and the reason is because all the assessment tools that Stephanie presented works for this specific Nbs. There are all other Nbs that are available, as for example, the planter green wall and the urban forest, but not all the assessment tools are working for them. The process will be covered with the city of Szeged in Hungary, because in this case, all the tools, the assessment tool calculates KPIs for this city. But we count on the socioeconomic assessment tool, the environmental assessment tool, and the expert model-based box, that is one part of the urban assessment tool, that are available for all the cities in Europe. Also, we have not tested for all the cities. Okay, it's available, but it's not demonstrated or validated in all the cities in Europe. In the case of the coloring KPI, that is another part of the urban assessment tool, this tool is available for Szeged and Alcalá de Henares. And in the case of Green Pass, that is the third tool within the urban assessment module, is available only for the city of Szeged. This is our first demo with external user. External I mean people coming outside of the consortium, of the Nature4Cities consortium. So this is the first time we open the assessment functionality to these external users, to you. It's true that we have demonstrated the platform with experts and with our municipalities, as presented before. This is also the first time that we use the platform with more than 10 people working at the same time. And this is also good for us because we will launch also a stress test in this session. And your comments during this exercise are really, really useful in order to test and to validate the platform with all of you. So in advance, thank you for your collaboration. And having said that, let me jump directly to the platform. Okay, so in order to access to the the assessment part, and more specifically to the Nbs project assessment, that is the one that we will test now. It's needed to log into the platform. So those who have registered, you have to include your user and your password, and we log into the platform. Okay. So the step 0, we have here 10 steps. You can see here from 1 to 10, but the first step is to create a new project. So let's add a new project here. The project name can be, for example, the we value demo. Sorry, demo. The project location, the country. The city is Stegen. The coordinates, I have my notes here with all the information. For Stegen, for example, the latitude and the longitude, we can collect this information directly from Google, indicating the name of the city and the coordinates. This one. Later, you can include a short description of the location where you want to create the Nbs project. I have here my notes regarding Stegen. Here we have to include for the project which are our objectives to be covered with the Nbs project in the form of urban challenges and urban sub-challenges more specifically. So, for example, for this project, we will indicate that we want to cover the climate mitigation, the climate adaptation, for example, also the quality of life and the social cohesion. Okay. Regarding the project constraints, that means if we have any kind of limitation in order to evaluate or to implement our Nbs project, we can, for example, indicate that we have limited investment. And the scale of our project would be at district scale, for example, okay? So we click on create project. And the platform says that it's okay, successfully created. And you can see here we value demo, okay? We have the project. So we are moving in step number 1, where a summary of the project is presented. And here you can change your project objectives and your project constraints and your scale if you needed to do that in order to assess a different scenario or situation. Another functionality of the assessment is to involve people in the same project, okay? So in this way, we can count on a set of people or group of people that can be involved in the same project and sharing information and sharing results and be part of the decision-making process. So as for example, I will include myself. Sorry, Susana Martin. My email. I send invite, and that person, in this case myself, I will receive an email indicating that I have been invited to this project. Okay, so I will give time to the server to send the email, and meanwhile I will move to the step number 2. So in the step number 2, that is the data insertion process, we have the possibility to upload information into the platform regarding the contextual situation of the area. We want to the area of the project we want to analyze. So in this case, we can provide information regarding to a drone service, information regarding the Terra map service, or we can include manual information. Okay. So for example, as an example, I will upload information for the Terra map service, for example, that is able to provide satellite imagery for the contextual situation of the area. So for example, we can provide the land use coverage in a set file format. So I will choose the files that I want to upload as part of the project. Okay, so here I have my files provided by the municipality in this case. I have chosen the land use. So here I will select all the files compiling the set file, and I upload. Okay, the file was uploaded successfully, and here you can see that this file has been uploaded into the platform successfully. Okay, we can repeat the action for other files. Sorry, I have to choose first. I will change the type of data. For example, let's provide the delineation widths of buildings, for example. We can upload also this file. Okay, let's see. That they weren't very happy, I guess. That is taking some time. Okay, here it is. So in this step number 2, the data insertion, you can upload all the contextual information you count on regarding the location where you want to assess your NBS. In step number 3, that is the next one, a map is shown. And in this step number 3, we need to draw the area where we want to implement our NBS project. Okay, so this is the city of Esteje. So let's choose, for example, this area in the riverside, for example. So you have to click here in order to draw a polygon of this stone, for example. Okay. And this will be the area of intervention for my NBS project. I will save. Okay. So this area is saved. And in the step number 4, that is the next one, we are able to define different scenarios for our NBS project. Okay. In this case, one scenario is considered one area where we want to apply one NBS. Okay. So in this step number 4, and in order to help in the decision of creating every scenario, in the first part we have a summary of the information for the project. Okay, the same information we included in the step number 1. Later, we have here also the functionality of the NBS preselection tool. So here you are able to see the different pioneer projects that are applying a specific NBS according to our project objectives. Okay. And finally, here is the place where we can create the different scenarios for our NBS project. So, for example, let's create one scenario using the public urban green space. That is the NBS that is working for all the assessment tools. So again, I need to draw the area that I want to cover with the public urban green space. So let's draw the specific area that we want to cover. For example, this one. So the total area that I want to cover with this NBS is the functional unit indicated here. Okay, so let's create the scenario. And moving to the next step, let me refresh the page. Okay, no, this is created. I will try it again. Sorry. Maybe it's taking some time. I will try again. Okay. Okay, let's create again. Okay, I don't know why this is not working. Let me refresh again. I don't know why. I try with another Nbs. Otherwise, I can show you another project with results here. Okay, I will try it again. This is the demo effect, sorry. Okay, so now we have I don't know, we have to check this back because yeah, it takes some time until the new scenario is created, okay? So as you can see here, we have the public urban green space. We can create another one, for example, for the planter green wall. That is another that is available for our assessment tools. So very quickly. So let's zoom. For this building, for example, we want to put a planter green wall, okay? Sorry. Okay, we can draw here the area that we want to cover with the green wall. For example, this one, and we create the scenario. Okay, let me refresh. I don't know what is happening today with the scenario, sorry. Okay, it doesn't appear. I don't know why it is not working well, but in any case, we have one scenario to test. Let me move to the emails in order to check if we have received the invitation. You can see here the invitation from the Nature4Cities platform. Okay, so for those people you invite in the step number 1, they will receive this email indicating that they have been invited to a specific project with the link to the platform in order to start working with it. Okay, so let's move forward to step number 6. So in the step number 6, you can launch the urban assessment evaluation here. So we have 3 tools in order to do the urban assessment: the expert model-based box, the Colory, KPI, and Green Pass. So starting with the expert model-based box, we have to choose the scenario we want to evaluate, okay? And here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 different KPIs: the annual carbon sequestration, the biotope area factor, the peak flow variation, the soil management, and the sustainable practice indicator. So, for example, if we want to calculate the annual carbon sequestration for this scenario, we need to indicate as parameter the different trees that we want to plant in the area. We can, for example, to choose the acacia, and we need to put the age of the trees, for example, 38, with a diameter of 50 centimeters. The condition is excellent because it's new plant. And for example, we can indicate that we want to plant 100 trees of this species, okay? And the vegetation, we can add also one or different kind of vegetation in the area of intervention for the scenario. So for example, let's put the Mediterranean shrub covering an area. Let me see, the total area of the scenario is 16,600 around. Okay, so we can put an area of 5,000. The number of days without frost, for example, 250, and the climatological background dry. We save the values for this parameterization, and we compute. And here the screen showing the value of the annual carbon sequestration. Okay, but in any case, you need to move to step number 9. in order to see the results. So if we move to step number 9, that is the step showing the results, and we choose our scenario. Okay, we can see for the urban assessment, the annual carbon, the value of the annual carbon sequestration. Okay, that is here. Okay, so moving again to step number 6. Let's calculate the biotope area factor. So one restriction that has this indicator is that the parameterization here, in the parameterization, the areas that we will provide here, the sum of all the horizontal areas that we have to provide here should be the total that is indicated here, the total surface of the area for the scenario. Okay, so maybe we can put here, in order to do it simple, 100. Sorry, 10,000. And here the 6,000. 630, and here 0.94, only as an example. Okay, so I think that they have sum all of them. So let's say for the rest 0. So we save and we compute. Okay, I have forgotten here at 0, sorry. So let's save again. And I compute. And the value for the biotope area factor is 0.08. I accept. And if you move to step number 9, okay, and the scenario and the urban assessment results, you can see the 0.08 of the biotope area factor. Okay. Okay, for the others, I think that I can move more quickly. So for the peak flow variation, only one parameter is needed, that is a percentage. Let's put at 30%. And this is the value that we can see later in the step number 9. For the soil management, we count here we have different parameters that are provided by default in providing other information. That is I think that is very helpful for the user. Okay, so putting these parameters, we save and we compute. And the results are in step number 9. And finally, the sustainable practice indicator, this is a questionnaire. Okay, so I will put information here. Moving quickly, not with many sense. I mean, I'm not reading the question, but at the end you have to read the question and answer accordingly to your situation in order to calculate this indicator, the sustainable practice indicator, but only to show you the process and the results. Okay, we can save and compute, and the results are in step number 9. So before moving to step number 9, let's also run the Colory. In this case, is the Colory KPI part of the Colory tool. So again, we need to choose the scenario. In the case of Colory, we can have the situation before the application of the Nbs and after the application of the Nbs. Let's choose both of them in this case. And we have also to indicate the percentage in different categories of the area, of the current situation of the area. For example, what is the percentage of trees? We can put the 30%. The shrubs, for example, are 20%, 10, and 30. We have the 100%. Okay, we save the information and we compute. And in the case of color, it's taking some time because they are recovering, the tool is recovering GeoJSON files in order to represent it in a map. And later we can see the results in step number 9. Okay, so he's indicating that we need to wait. I think that the color is the tool needing more time to obtain the results, okay? I think that is taking 1 minute more or less, 1.5 minutes more or less in order to obtain the results. Okay, so finish the results in step number 9. But before jumping to step number 9, let's complete the urban assessment with Green Pass, okay? So here again, information should be provided, okay? So I will include some of the values provided previously. Okay. We save the configuration.
To select the scenario, I think before.
Sorry. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
Thank you, Lijan. Okay.
Okay.
I need to choose the scenario. There was the information is not linked to any scenario. Thank you, Lijan. I save the information and I compute. In the case of Green Pass. Okay. So once we have run all the calculation of the assessment for the urban assessment for the expert model-based box coloring and Green Pass, we can move to step number 9 to see the results of the urban assessment. Okay. So here you can find the results for Green Pass for the city of Szeged, the scenario for public urban green space, regarding the thermal comfort score, thermal load score, thermal storage score, thermal performance, specific heat capacity, and urban standard typologies. And here you have additional information that you can download, okay, for Green Pass. So we go back here. So we have to move back here. So. Okay, so more results in step number 9. Okay, you have also the KPI scores and the score bars for Green Pass that you can test. In the case of coloring, as I said before, the information is provided in GeoJSON, this georeferenced information. So here you can choose the KPI that you want to see, as for example, the urban green space proportion, connectivity of green space, aerial sprawl, accessibility of green space, and Shannon index. Okay, so this is the urban green space proportion. This is not working properly. This is one bug that we need to solve. The representation, I mean the colors of this grid, but the one that are working are the connectivity of green spaces, the aerial sprawl that you can see here also, the accessibility of green spaces, and finally the Shannon index. And below you can see the results of the expert model-based box. I think that this one have it resetted because it was here, but we have the biotope area factor, the peak flow variation, and the soil management, different KPIs, and the result of the questionnaire for the sustainable practice indicator. Okay, so this is the evaluation for the urban assessment. Let me show you directly in the step number 10. The objective of the step number 10 is the exportation of the results. So these results that are represented in step number 9 can be downloaded from the platform. So you only need to choose the scenario that you want to obtain the results, and in this case, to select the exportation for the urban assessment. So let's export these results. Okay, you have here the file, you can open the file. And here you can see all the inputs that we have provided for the urban assessment. In this case, it's only for the expert model-based box. So all the inputs, including for the expert model-based box, you can see them here. And the results that we have obtained for the expert model-based box. So you can see here the results from the expert model-based box. Okay. So let's move directly to the socioeconomic assessment. We choose again our scenario. Okay, the one you can see here. Here we need also to provide information of the situation that we want for the scenario. Okay, so the Nbs is the public urban green space, that is the one from our scenario. The three species here, let's choose the Platanus aferifolia. Maybe we can put 12 trees here. The claim condition is sand with pavement, grass cover, and irrigation. Okay, I think that we need to put, sorry, I have to put this information here, sorry. Platanus, 12 trees, sand, pavement, with grass cover, with irrigation. I save, and I compute. Okay, so again, the results are in step number 9. So let's move to step number 9. We choose the scenario, and for the socioeconomic assessment, it's loading the results. This part also takes a little time because a lot of graphs are represented here. And mainly for the first time to create the project. And maybe we can move to the environmental assessment and later try to see the results for the socioeconomic. Meanwhile, yeah, I will jump to the environmental assessment, waiting for loading these results. Okay, so the final assessment is for the environmental assessment. So in this case, you can select all the KPIs that you want to assess to calculate with for the common environmental assessment tool. Let's do all of them. Okay. And again, parameterization should be provided in order to calculate all these KPIs. So in this case, the tool is supported by default values, that is helping the user not to provide a lot of information, but other information should be provided manually by the user. Okay. So for example, the annual number of visitors, those fields that are empty are highlighted in red. Pavement area. So yeah, I'm putting randomly numbers. Okay. I think that I have completed all the inputs. No one highlighted in red. Okay, so I save the configuration and I compute. Okay, so we move again to step number 9 to see the results in the case for the environmental assessment. Okay, so here you can see for our public urban green space, okay, and the city that we have chosen, you can see the different KPIs calculated with the values and also graphical representations here, okay. Again, this information, the exportation module in step number 9 is also working for this environmental assessment, okay. So this information can be also downloaded by the user clicking in the scenario and clicking in the exportation button. Okay, this is the new one. For the environmental assessment, we collect the inputs provided here. Okay, you can see all the inputs that we provided by manually or for the scenario, and you can show also the results here with the indicators and the graphical representation. And this exportation functionality is very useful to compare scenarios. Okay, so let's check if we are able to see the results for the socioeconomic assessment. No, so that's loading again. Let me check with my colleague, Rafael. Values are stored for this? Okay. Because so we have a problem with this part, okay? But in any case, the results was presented by Stefan in the initial presentation. So in order not to use more time in that, I think that maybe it's the time to move to your own testing. So I would like to invite you to play with the platform and to provide your feedbacks in the mural. For sure, if you need our support, please you can write your questions or your doubts in the chat.
I wanted also just to remind that it's also possible to for you to use also the grade zone with the step-by-step guide in order to.
Sorry, can you repeat, Stephanie?
Yes, I was just saying that people can use also the guide we shared in the invitation link. So how to use the N4C platform guidelines if you need to have additional instructions, you can also use it. So I'm just sharing again the link to the clause where you can download it if needed.
Okay. Meanwhile, we have obtained the results for the socioeconomic.
Okay, good.
So you can see, you can see here the result of the socioeconomic assessment. Okay, so you can see the different cost benefits and the different graphs here that are really interesting. Okay, so I don't know for I can see here 3 new projects created. So I would like to invite you to create a new project. If you need, again, we can start again the exercise, but I would like to see more projects here. Okay, so please don't be afraid and try to play with the platform. That is also good for us in order to test it.
Yes, and I can see that most of people are coming from Nature4Cities, but of course you are also invited to participate. I did it also from my side, so I have started to see some good points and some broken issues. So you can share your screenshots to show us what is the blocking point for you, what were also the successful points. It's also important to rate it. So please share it with us using the mural. Do not hesitate to test as if it's just part of test. It's very interesting for us to obtain some feedback. So I'm sharing again the mural. So you have the link. If you need again the platform link, I can also share it again.
Another thing, maybe you can use it if you don't want to create a new project. You can use directly the We Value demo, and there you can create new scenarios. For example, in step number 4. I will create a new scenario here. I will try at least.
Okay.
But at the same time, you can create your own scenarios in the other projects, okay? You have to insist that it's true that we have this possible bug that is not allowing us to create the scenarios the first time, but let's try again, okay?
So if somebody has an issue, you can also take the stick if you want, if it's easier for you to explain it. It's good to have some interaction, so do not hesitate to do. From my side, for example, I tested it, and so first I registered some geolocalization data that were coming from Google. So I took it directly from Google. Then I checked in Google, it was good. It was the good localization I wanted to have. And when I open the platform, I'm very near, but I'm a little bit out of the geolocalization I tested. Yes, in the scenario definition part, no, not in this. It is in the third part, in the area of intervention drawing, in the third part. And
what is your project? The VO test?
Yes, it's the VO test.
Okay, so in the step number 3?
Yes. And I'm a little bit out of my project, so I have to move in order to be in the good place for my project, which is not very easy because it's not so easy to find again the project. So I don't know if it's normal or if I did something wrong, or maybe it's good or Google did something wrong.
I don't know which is the location. Sorry.
So the location, the initial location is 44.7. and minus 0.5. Yes.
And it's not well located in the map, you mean, in the step number 3?
No, it's not exactly the same when you click. It's a little bit, it's out of this window. I have to move it, and it's on the right side, actually. So
I think that in this case, maybe it's collecting the coordinates of the village. In Google Maps. It's not your specific coordinates, but the coordinates of the city, probably. Yeah. And that's what you need to move to a different place.
Okay, but when I introduce this coordinate in Google, then I have the good location in Google.
Yeah, but the coordinates, I think that is taking this one. Yeah.
Okay, so it does not take the coordinates I have introduced.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
maybe we can change that, okay? Because it's true that if you choose a specific location because you know perfectly where is it, where it is, sorry, we should move for the coordinates, not with the name of the city. This is an improvement.
Now I understand. Okay, thank you for your answer. And
so any other comment? Any help? Someone succeeded in creating scenarios? I see more projects here. Okay, another important thing that I have not indicated, but I think that are interesting, that according to the urban challenges, the urban sub-challenges that you included in the project as project objectives, we are using the GeoCluster for nature-based solution in order to collect a pre-selected list of Nbs that can be applied in order to cover these objectives, okay? So here you have the complete list. I know now why it's not working the planter green wall, okay. So, yeah. So you have here the list of Nbs that can be applied in order to cover your project objectives. But for the moment, the tool, I mean, the platform is only available for urban forest, planter urban green space, or sorry, public urban green space and planter green wall. Because the assessment tools are working only for all of them for the public urban green space and some of them for the urban forest and the planter green wall. So I go back to my project, to the WeValue demo. And we need to provide, and this is another improvement, an error message if we are not able to create a project because we don't have the pre-selected Nbs here. So if I want to create a scenario with a planter green wall, that I tried twice to do that, I need to change the scale of my project because the planter green wall is an Nbs that can only be applied at entity scale. So I have to change here the scale to entity. I need to update my project. And now, probably, I will succeed in the creation of the scenario with the planter green wall. So I will choose here again. This facade of this building for assessing a planter green wall. Covering 74 square meters. Okay, so I have now the planter green wall here. Okay, this is the last one, and probably this is the previous one. But the problem is that we need to have an entity scale of the project in order to have it available, this Nbs. Okay. So please, I would like to know from you if you have succeeded in creating scenarios or not.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can use this project, okay, in order to run any evaluation or some evaluation.
Susanna, I can see there are some questions on the mural. So yeah, on the mural directly. So in the first step, one task is there is an option to retrieve password when you register to the platform, and how you can do to yes.
In the step number 1?
Yes, no, it's not exactly in step number 1 actually. It's in the registration phase of the platform. Is there an option to retrieve a password?
No, not for the moment. You need to reset the password in order to obtain a new one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, for the moment, this functionality is not available.
Okay. And there is somebody who asked, because I think it was an issue when he arrived on the tool, you already have a list of the test scenarios on the left. We have already the test scenarios that you have created. For instance, from my side, I can see the we value demo, the Victor test. Okay, so we have some tests that are still remaining as if we are new user. Is it normal or not?
What is normal is to see all these projects, okay? These are the projects created by all the people registered and logging into the platform. But for every new project, it's not normal to see any scenario in step number 5, okay? So it's okay to see all the projects. These are projects, okay, that we have created,
okay,
that people have created. But in a new project, and if you go to step number 5, no scenario should appear.
Okay. Okay.
So,
I have the scenario. I have the scenario 341 for the we value demo, for instance. So I can see the scenario from my side.
But in your project, Stephanie?
And I'm logging with my own email address. Yes, I can see the scenarios if I click on the corresponding project.
Yeah, for example, I'm clicking on your project, the BO test, and in step number 5, there is no scenarios.
I have no scenario at the moment. But if I click on we value demo, then I can see the scenario created by we value project.
Yes, because at the time being, everybody has access to all the projects. That's why.
For the moment, but after the testing period, it will not be open to the others. Yeah, right?
Yeah, at this time that we are testing, all the projects are open to everybody, but the objective of the platform is to close this and have only those projects created by one person available for this person and those that are invited, okay? And that's the rationale or the reason of involve people in the project, okay? So the reason is to have only you, the one that created the project, and that people able to see the project, but not the others, okay?
And somebody asked if all the people invited to contribute to the project can change the data.
Yes.
Yes. And another question is about step 4, I think, if it's right. And they ask, how are the pre-selected pioneer projects chosen at this step? For example, for a scenario of park with biodiversity and urban space management challenge, the person who asked the question obtained a majority of green walls pioneer projects.
What is this question, Stephanie?
It was it's on the 4 column, the number 4. Yes, this one.
Okay.
Don't know exactly, not sure to understand well the question, to be honest.
Okay, so in this sense, we are using for that part that are the collection of pioneer projects, okay? We are using the geocluster for nature-based solution that is taking into account the urban challenges that we are putting in the project, okay? So in step number 4, and in order to help us in generating a proper scenarios, okay, we have this pre-selected list of Nbs and also this map with pioneer projects, okay? take into account that in the we value demo, now the scale of my project is entity, because I changed it in order to choose the planter green wall. Okay, so let's try, and that's why, for example, that the planter green wall is appearing in some part here. You can see planter green wall here, right? But if I change the scale of my project in the step number 1, and I change again to district or city, for example, let's check with city, I update information. And I move again to step number 4. And we have a limited list of Nbs that can be applied at city scale. And the pioneer projects are chosen according to this Nbs. So, for example, we can choose this one in Spain, in Madrid. That is it's a park as a result of sorry, I will put here. Okay, so we have a park here in Spain that is a city scale, and here you have a fact sheet with more information. I will open in a different because it's not working in that. Okay. With more information about the Pioneer project, okay? So I don't know why, because here this should be a link and it's not working. Oh, okay.
Susanna, other cities are working instead of Madrid.
Okay, so I can choose a different city. Okay. Okay, will do. So in any case, at the end, the Pioneer project presented here provides, the Pioneer provides or uses the Nbs according to the preselected list of Nbs, okay? So for example, here we have a project that is the binary project, okay? And this is working, and maybe it's not working for me, Alijan. But in any case, and answer the question at the end, the Pioneer projects presented here are related to the Nbs's preselected, okay? So according to our urban challenges and the scale, different Nbs are provided as preselected lists that can be applied for our problem. And here we obtain the Pioneer projects using this Nbs here in this list, okay? So as you can see, for example, in the case of the city scale, we have this Nbs and the Pioneer projects using this Nbs. But if we change the scale again, if we change the scale to a district, we obtain a larger list of Nbs that can be applied at district scale. And in consequence, accordingly, the Pioneer projects using this Nbs, okay? And here, for example, is not appearing the planter green wall. And that's why I wasn't able to create initially the scenario with the planter green wall, okay? Any other question, interesting question to assess?
So I think that people can maybe continue today or during the day to continue to put your feedbacks if you test the platform today, or we could even say during the week because we have still time to analyze this feedback. We will probably analyze the feedback during the general meeting that will be next week. So it's still possible to provide your comments. So please, if you can take some time to test it, and you did not already provided your feedback, it's the opportunity to do that. So I think that now we should go through the next presentation because we are already late regarding the timeline, but I think that it will be quite quick. The last part will be quick. So I will let you maybe Domenico to take the lead. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Stephanie. Yes, I have also another colleague that helped me in this section, that is Mario Cortese. And Stephanie, if you can share again the presentation.
Oh, yes, sorry. And I wanted to say also thank you very much, Susanna, for
thank you.
Patience.
Thank you for your patience. Take it along that this part of the assessment is beta version and we are finishing it, but please feel free to play with the tool because your feedback is very, very helpful. And thank you.
Thank you, Susanna, and also the selection of the mural tool is very, very good because it allows also to get feedback after this meeting, and that is great. So let's start about the Nature4Cities platform business model and what is planned after the life of the Nature4Cities project for this tool. Basically, in this first slide, I would like to highlight that the complexity of the project we have to face during the project lifetime. We have 26 partners involved. We have identified 21 exploitable results. You have seen in the previous presentation that a lot of tools have been developed, and all this information should be included in the exploitation process of the project in order to create value for each single tool. And we can summarize that the most and the principal tool that has been developed within the Nature4Cities project that we have seen and explored today, the Nature4Cities platform, is well summarized all the complexity of the tools of the project itself. We have focused basically on the Nature4Cities platform. We have understood that it needs some little improvement before becoming a fully commercial product, but we have to think how to penetrate the market in the future. And so for this reason, we have developed a business model for these important project results that help you to assess, to select, assess, and identify the impacts of a green infrastructure in an urban scale, basically. So in order to develop the business model of the Nature4Cities platform, we have used the business model canvas method that will allow to basically have in one single site all the key aspects of a business model. And a business model, of course, is a way to describe the rationale and how an organization could create and delivers value for its product, basically. At the end of the study, basically we have talked about a possible business model that could be applied to our Nature4Cities platform. And basically the selection was the freemium business model. What is the freemium business model? It is well explained in the image that you see on the right of this slide. Basically, at the beginning, the tool, the product will be released with a a free basic service for the end user. So, for example, the end user could be able to perform some basic analysis to assess the impact at environmental, socio-economical, and urban level of the implementation of an Nbs project, as you have seen before with Susanna. Then, if I need more information, they can basically change and switch to the full and to the premium product, basically. That, of course, will be activated by paying some fee, basically. Of course, the premium business model that we have selected have some good aspects, because it is an effective way in order to attract user, because the user can start to play with the tool and understand how it could be useful for their everyday activities. And but anyway, it also have some risks to be taken in account. And for example, the risk could be to have a large number of users that are not paying user. But this is something that we should take in account in the business model development. Okay, Stephanie, let's go to the second, to the last slide. Yes. Basically, as you have seen, the platform needs more improvement, and for this reason, it will be released basically in a beta version at the end of the project. What it means? It means that all the tools will be free, accessible for the end user, and this will help us to better improve the platform itself, and to make the step one step forward in order to put and improve it for the commercialization, for the future commercialization, basically. And yes, the last section of this presentation, it is meant to be more interactive with you basically, and we have organized a set of questions that you can access to this set of questions by using the Slido tool. You see here the URL that you can use in order to access the Slido, and you can use the access code that you see right below in the slides. At this point, I will ask to you, Stephanie and Mathilde, to give me an help in order to exactly to show the set of questions that we have planned for the participant and the results in this Slido tool. I think that I don't know if we can check if how many people have accessed to the tool.
Can you see my screen? Yes, you can see
yes,
the Slido tool. Yeah.
Yes, I can see perfectly.
Okay.
Okay, and basically we can start with these set of questions that will help us to understand what is the value added of the Nature4Cities platform that you have discovered today, and also these set of questions are able to give to us some suggestions on how to better approach to the market, basically. So the first question is describing one single keyword the value that you foreseen for the Nature4Cities platform. So try to think how the platform will help you, and basically describe the value that it can add to your everyday work with Nbs project, basically. Yes, we I've seen that it is a multi-thematics. This is a very good point because basically it allows you to make a complete assessment of a green infrastructure by integrating different tools that have been developed within the Nature4Cities project. Okay. Well, I see that the word integration received a lot of feedback, and I have to say yes, because this is one strength point of the Nature4Cities platform, because we have faced this, the integration issue along the project lifetime in order to provide a full operational tool that at the end could allow the end user to make a complete assessment and to basically also point out the impact of the selection of the Nbs selection that they have thought to be applied in an urban area, basically. Well, I see that more feedback are coming on, and that's great. I also, okay, we have 8 feedback. Mario, I don't know if you would like to add something, or Stephanie, but I think that we have basically showed what are the main KX aspect of the Nature4Cities platform in these results. Okay, and well, we can switch, Stephanie, to at this point to the second, and thanks for the feedback. You can continue to
yes.
put,
Yes.
and
yes. So we go through the next one.
Next, okay.
Next should work. No. Yes, it's okay.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you, Stephanie. The next slide is now to define what kind of end user do you think could be interested in the platform by using the platform. We have seen during the presentation, today's presentation, that municipalities are going to have tested the platform. Yes, but if you think that there are other kind of interested end user, please make the put here, write down your feedback. Okay, also urban planners, consultants. Okay, well, okay. And of course, these results could help us to better identify the targeted stakeholders and end users for the future market approach of the product. Okay. Okay, we have already a lot of feedback. Basically, I think that municipalities and urban planners are going to be on the same level, more or less. And yes, we have targeted and fine-tuned the business model of the Nature4Cities platform on these principal end users that are municipalities and urban planners. Okay. Also, the real estate is a very good sector. Let's go to the third question.
Sorry, I moved it too fast. Maybe you wanted to finish things.
No, but I think that it's okay with this question. We have received and validated also the stakeholders and end user selection that we have made for the Nature4Cities platform. So it's a good results, and thanks. Let's switch at this point to the third questions. Okay, this is more technical. because we are asking now how and which elements of the Nature4Cities platform could be useful for your everyday work, and what do you think in the way in which we could improve much more the Nature4Cities platform? You have answered a little bit to this question also during the previous presentation with the mural tool. Okay. Okay. I see that there is so far one single feedback, and please don't hesitate to write down your suggestion that will help us. Okay. Okay. It came to my eyes, the first one that is more help to learn how to use the platform. I would like to make a point on this aspect, because of course when it will be released, basically the end user could stay in contact with the tool owners, and if there are some problem, they can ask questions directly. Maybe we have set up a Trello board in order to facilitate the communication between the end user and the tool owners. And this will, of course, help the end users in order to solve some technical problem. The platform, of course, should be simple to be used, and basically we have integrated a lot of tools. So this is a very good point, but I think that with more, you should play with the platform a little bit, and after this you can see that it is a sort of complete guideline that will help you in all the steps to be addressed in order to basically implement an Nbs project. Okay. Yes, I cannot go through all your suggestions because we are late, but we have, for example, a section within the Nature4Cities platform that will help you to design the business model canvas of your project, and yes, that could be a good point. But I think the most important point is that the platform will help you to compare and assess, to compare the different scenarios, and basically to assess the impact of your strategy, Nbs strategy, in a more objective way, basically, by having in your hands some KPIs that can be compared among different scenarios and help you to make the best and the best decision, basically. Okay. Looks so ambitious. Yes, we are on the way to release this platform in a full operative way, but it will come along the way, and I think that with the help of the consortium partners, we have a good opportunity and good chance to complete it very soon. Okay. So, okay, I think that we have received a lot of feedback, Stephanie. Let's go to the next. Okay. Yes, this is more linked to the business model that we have selected for the Nature4Cities platform. And the question is more direct. Will you be willing to buy a license or of the tool of the Nature4Cities platform, or ask for consulting service to the tool owners? do you think that the platform could be useful for you? And basically, you do agree with the freemium business model that we have selected for the platform? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, if the version is advanced, I could be interested to buy license, but not at this stage. And this is why we released basically the platform in a beta version at the end of the project. But we know that it needs to be improved before becoming a fully commercial product. And yes. Do you provide consulting services? The platform is meant to be basically a sort of link between the tool owners that provide also consulting service and the end users interested in implementing a green infrastructure in their city. Yes, all the tool owners also provide consulting service. And we can use the platform in order to make the link between the end users and the tool owners. Okay. Okay, fully developed, it could be interesting. Okay. Well, I see that the technical part and help is a good point to be pointed out, and thanks for these suggestions. We have definitely to take in account this point before approaching the market, basically. Okay. Okay. And Stephanie, okay, I see that more or less we have received some feedback, useful feedback, so thank you very much. So the last questions is, would you be interested in partnering with Nature4Cities consortium, for example, for future commercial opportunities, or to conduct further research, help to commercialize, and so to approach the market? So let's select between the choice, different choice, okay? Also because we are going to implement a partnership agreement with the consortium partners, and we don't exclude that at the end, basically, it could be a sort of open, this agreement could be opened also to external partners, basically, that will help us to improve much more the platform and to reach the market, basically. Okay. Okay, and I see that more or less conduct further research activities and make use of the platform and supporting tools are the most voted. Selected choice, okay, and this is understandable now because you have seen that the platform need to be much more improved, and but anyway, that's a good point. And Stephanie, I don't know if you would like to add something else or suggest something, but this is the last questions. Mm-hmm. And I think that we have gotten a lot of useful feedback, both for the technical side aspects and also from business side aspects, basically.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I think it's interesting what we have collected, and then we will of course further discuss it during our general meeting and by the end of the project. But I think that definitely we know that it's a beta version that needs to be further developed before to really discuss about the real business model. Definitely, I think that it will be very interesting to think about the service that could be also be added into through the platform. That in addition, the user will definitely need technical support if they want to use the platform, or at least the assessment tools, or maybe other tools. So this is something to take into consideration into the further development. There are also need to add some other indicators, to add some other tools. So the platform could also cover other tools. It could also provide links to other complementary tools. This is something to have in mind, because for further collaboration with other projects, it's possible to do such link in future. So of course, if people that are not involved in Nature4Cities, or if